From historic Doyle Field in Leominster, we welcome you to another edition of Girls Soccer here on RFM. Alongside Bill Thomas and Kate Robbins for Rivalry Family Media, and happy to have you along with us here at historic Doyle Field for another great night of Fall Season 1 action, as tonight Leominster High School's girls soccer team plays host to the girls soccer team from Shrewsbury. Colonials come in having a difficult start to their year, having yet to find a win, and Leominster in an equal position. They themselves yet to find a win. So both teams tonight will look to find their way to their first victory. The guarantee at the end of the night is that someone will have a victory or an additional tie on their record, Bill Thomas. And, well, it's got to be a good feeling for both teams. They feel like they've got an even match opportunity here, and both with a chance to turn the program around with a win tonight. At the very least, their fortunes for the season.
Yeah, this could be a breakout game for one team. We're not sure which one. Neither team has gotten into the win column yet, but you need that one game sometimes to get over the hump. And with this weird season, lack of full scrimmages and playing with off numbers. We saw the JVs playing 10 on 10. I'm not sure it was a numbers thing or they just agreed to play with less players on the field than the 11. But it's a different season. But I'm sure we'll see the girls out there having fun, and somebody might score a couple goals early and really turn the tide and carry the momentum tonight. And
Kate, Bill Tom makes a great point. It is all about having fun when you're out there in high school athletics to a certain extent, but the one that people have the most fun doing is winning. And so it is a big struggle. And when you're trying to keep a program together and trying to grow a program at either school or at any school, winning has to come with that in order to get the turnout and get the numbers and get the growth of the program. So starting with a win here could be all that much more important than maybe, there's no playoff seeding to worry about under these circumstances or anything like that. It's really about setting up the future and being able to put wins together to hopefully attract players to want to be part of the program.
And that's certainly true. The big momentum is something that can make or break your season. And right now, both of these squads trying to find it. Right now, as you said, kind of trending not in a direction that they want to, but both of them see an opportunity tonight to kind of take this thing by the reins going into the last 2 weeks of the regular season here for the 2020 season, for Fall 1, and try to right the ship. And as you said, right now, both teams winless. It's about not just winning a game. Now we need to break this down even further. Win a half, win a quarter, win a contest, essentially. And so right now you really have to not negatively focus on the minutia, but you need to have those incremental small wins, those small battles, and then those will build, and they'll build on the positivity, that will build on your momentum, and eventually hopefully catapult you into a win. We know one team's going to win tonight or tie, and so that at least is a positive, and hopefully it catapults one of these squads to be able to go into the rest of the season on a positive note and go out strong.
And Bill Thomas, when you have this kind of one goal can make or break it. We saw it last night in the boys game. A mistake can make all the difference in the world. It's going to put a lot of emphasis on the two players that are occupying the cages tonight for either school.
Well, neither goalie wants to give up that early goal or first goal, especially if it's an early goal, because we know how the momentum can swing so quickly in soccer. That one goal just seems like to energize the rest of the team. So it'll really be up to the keepers. And, we saw that mistake that made a difference in the 2-1 game. You hate to see a mistake make the difference. You'd rather see it turn on a great play. Just have to see how the game plays out tonight. But it's really going to be on the shoulders of the keepers.
Shrewsbury and Leominster, first kick when we come back, along with player introductions and the national anthem. All that to come on Breast Cancer Awareness Night here on RFM. Back with more in a moment. Stay with us.
Number 3, Captain Casey Ryder. Number 6, Captain Abigail Zara. Number 0, Grace Conti. Number 15, Dylan Corwell. And number 20, Alisa Mielhaus. And coaches, Becky Landers, assistant coaches, Roy Peterson. Now the starting lineup for your Leominster Bulls. Midfielder number 22, Lindsay Arsenal. Forward number 11, Kate Picasso. Midfield defense captain number 42, Claire Morris. Midfield number 25, Tyra Forsberg. Midfield number 34, Mia Forsberg. Defense number 12, Alexis Melanson, captain. Forward in midfielder number 12, Olivia Rodriguez. Forward in midfielder number 26, Shannon Smith. Forward in midfielder number 32, Ava Cruz. And forward in midfielder number 14, Laura Young. In goal, number 38, Olivia LeBlanc. Head coaches, Brian Poole and Scott Poole. Ladies and gentlemen, we ask that you please face to the west in our beautiful U.S. flag in honor of America with the playing of our national anthem.
Another absolutely stunning night here at historic Doyle Field, and we are ready for action. Shrewsbury and Leominster Girls Soccer here on RFM. So great to have you along with us for another beautiful night here at Doyle Field. We've got moonrise overhead right at the midfield stripe. Bill Thomas, it doesn't get much better than this.
I tell you, this is what it's all about when it comes to fall sports, and we couldn't ask for a better evening tonight. I like to say when I'm in NASCAR country, it's Chamber of Commerce weather.
Absolutely, without doubt, without a doubt. Shrewsbury brings their 0-2-1 record to historic Doyle Field. Losses to open the season against Westboro and Wachusett, 5-0, 3-0 in those affairs. And then a 0-0 or 0-0 in soccer terminology draw earlier this week against Algonquin. For Leominster, they bring an 0-3 record here to Doyle Field tonight. Leominster 3 straight losses to Algonquin, and then on the road at Westboro and Wachusett, 7-0, 2-1, 6-0. That has been Leominster's fate thus far in this early season. This game rained out twice last week. Third time's the charm. Soccer will be played tonight here at historic Doyle Field, and we're looking forward to bring it to you, Kate. I mean, the numbers bear it out. Shrewsbury surrendered 8 goals. Leominster has surrendered 15 goals to the one they've scored, but that's the lone goal that has been scored among the two teams as first kick is underway.
Yeah, both of these defenses have not been all that tight thus far this season, so we're either going to get a very high-scoring affair on either side, or we're going to get a very low-scoring affair on either side. I don't necessarily think it's going to be lopsided one way or the other.
And the battle ensues, and contact immediately right out over the ball. No bodies hit each other. And the one thing that I'm noticing right out of the chute compared to the boys soccer game that we saw last night is just how tightly packed the players are as they move around the field. Certainly seems like they're much more clustered up than we saw in the boys game last night.
Yeah, they're staying right on top of their mark throughout everything.
Not spreading the field near as much. Everyone's staying very close together. As Shrewsbury controls the action going from left to right. First shot hits the side of the cage out over the end line. Goal kick for Leominster. Colonials wearing the road whites. White top, white bottoms, Vegas gold. Shrewsbury across the front. Black numerals in Vegas, gold front and back with the white socks to boot. Leominster, meanwhile, wearing the home royal blue tops, royal blue bottoms, trimmed in white. White numerals front and back, and Leominster across the back shoulder blades for the Blue Devils with the L fork on the front left chest. Shot comes on net as it comes out of a pack, and LeBlanc is able to smother it. And then with the goal kick clear back out toward midfield, and it will roll out the near side, and it will be Colonial ball. Just about a minute and a half into this one, still 0-0 here on Girls Soccer on RFM.
A couple of good chances there early on.
The action pursues, ball chipped out there, and
Play on.
play on's the signal.
I think they're going to let them play
Where's
tonight.
the ball?
Indeed, a much different already feeling than the boys soccer game we saw last night, where the officials really tried to rein in the action, and really the whistle seemed like it was going off consistently here. We've had bodies hitting the turf already in the first 90 seconds, and there's been no whistle.
Two favorite words, play on, when it comes to soccer.
And away they go.
We're seeing it already tonight.
Shrewsbury down the right sideline, tries to turn the angle toward net, rattles the post on the back side of the net, and out of play it goes. For the Blue Devils, co-head coaches Bryant and Scott Houle, the brothers Houle, both alums of Leominster High School, find themselves in charge of a girls soccer team that has been in a rebuilding phase over probably the last 3+ seasons. For Shrewsbury, Becky Landers, their head coach, on the Colonial side of the ball. That ball comes high right into the bottom of the chin of Forsberg and stays in play. Now a whistle from behind the play, and it will be Leominster ball.
Colonials coming off their third good offensive opportunity there, although the shot went wide. Some early opportunities for Shrewsbury.
This is Arsenal to restart. Trying to find a lane, and Arsenal with the right foot with a nice right to left curve breaks to the middle. It was knocked down there by Benincasa. And then a loose ball rolls over to the far right where the Colonials will steer control. Kept it in along the touch line, or no, that cricket signal says ball out of play. And it will be indeed Leominster ball coming in on the restart.
Well, we got two balls on the field.
Indeed we do. Play the nearest one. Play continues.
Play them both. One of those fancy pinball.
I was saying,
with two balls.
The old fancy pinball machines, Bill Thomas. Great reference there. Absolutely. It's a challenge to keep the paddles on the two pinballs as they're rolling through the machine. I'm with you.
Go cross-eyed trying to follow.
4 minutes into this one, still 0-0. Only one real scoring chance, and it was a save made by LeBlanc, who grabs that one, rolls on up to her, and she'll get some roll. Realize that one out of the end, and yeah, that was a header. Ball back to the Colonials.
So we saw boys using their shoulders an awful lot last night. Haven't seen the girls take that opportunity yet.
Restart from long distance from Vincent Query, and it's smothered down by LeBlanc. It may have drifted harmlessly wide, but no sense in leaving it.
Not after what we saw last night.
Exactly.
Those short hops can be dangerous too. Misplayed very easily.
And off this turf, you get quite the spring on the ball on that first hit,
that was
especially.
Benincasa who settled the ball down and then tried to find Laura Young on the pass to the right wing. It was deflected out of play, and Leominster keeps it on the restart. Backward to go, forward it goes, and that was Melanson. And eventually it bounces its way down into the hands of the keeper, where it is turned back out.
Good shoulder down right there.
Indeed. Battle right around the midfield. Leominster seemingly, even though the action has been in their end of the field, seemingly has controlled the pace. Here's a nice connection moving over to the near side. That was De La Rosa.
Nice footwork.
Yeah, moved back forward there.
Forsberg on that. Nice footwork.
Centering pass was knocked down by a Colonial coming out of the pile. Now here's Troest, and she can't quite settle the ball, and so it bounces loose to the keeper.
She's a little spark plug.
Indeed she is.
I like the grit already.
The keeper Conti now has 2 touches thus far, neither seemingly a great scoring opportunity for Leominster. Colonials with the restart. Coming from left sideline. 6 minutes into this one, no score. couple of scoring chances aside.
I will say the lack of whistles in comparison to last night's game, there's at least a full.
And there certainly has been no less body contact, that's for sure. Ball flying down right side wing, back through gets to the official, stays in Colonial control. Colonial's looking for a center, turned on net, and LeBlanc again with the save. That looked like Marzo to my eye that turned the ball on LeBlanc, who was able to go down and make the save.
Threw a screen there on top of it.
The two games that we've seen LeBlanc in net in the first half, she's really nice awareness. Those eyes following that ball, understand where she is in net, and some really good field awareness. And as Billy said, through the screen there, still able to make that great save in net. Great contribution.
Leominster with some full substitutions seemingly, as they'll now restart from the near side. That's Forsberg. Forsberg into a pile, steered out of there by Cudahy. Cudahy finds the right wing, and it gets turned on goal before being knocked down there. It was Young who turned it to net, and it was smugged again by Conti. Into the open field, that ball gets chipped, and on the race for it, Arsenault turns the angle toward the sideline, and out of play it goes. It stops a Colonial potential break.
Good defensive move right there. Didn't want to get beat one-on-one and with a misplay. Nice job to get a reset.
Vince Curry puts it in play. Finds a center for Juten. Juten to the right post, tries to center, steered away there by the Leominster defense along the front of the goal mouth. And then out to play it down was LeBlanc, who will knock it out of play. It'll be a Leominster corner, but a flurry of defensive action there. Leominster's able to steer it away as LeBlanc found an angle.
Didn't see the defender that saved that first open net goal.
It was either Carbo or Melanson. I can't tell if it was 12 or 18.
Yeah, one of those girls in front.
Beautiful job.
And then the keeper comes out aggressively. Nice save.
Anytime a ball crosses the front of your goal mouth in any sport of this type, whether it's hockey, lacrosse, soccer, always a dangerous situation there, and great backside help from the defense. Off the COVID restart, into the center of the field. Couldn't put a foot on it, and the Colonials will lose it out to the sideline. Leominster able to clear at least momentarily across the touchline, and Leominster will give it up to the Colonials for a restart.
Good consistent pressure right there by Shrewsbury.
Not 10 yards over there, by the way. Just saying.
It's a much different measurement than we saw
You're
last
right, though.
evening.
Tonight we're seeing a lot of clustering. Not seeing a lot of people spread.
Which we think would lead to more whistles, too, with more contact, but it's not up to this point.
They're letting them play.
Yeah, another player down and another play on signal. The Query tries to center. Couldn't catch the player in stride, and that ball was turned away by Forsberg. Leominster chips forward. That was Kelly. And then that ball played above the shoulder, so the ball back to the Colonials as we drift down to about the halfway point, quarter number one. Still no score. Shrewsbury and Leominster Girls Soccer here on our FM. Ball centered. That was played with an open shoulder there with the hand out, always dangerous.
And arm.
Got to give him a little leeway these days.
I don't know about that.
If you can't use your head, you've got to use something to knock the ball down. And across the touchline it goes, and the ball back to Leominster. 4 Colonials will join the fray when signaled. Looking for, I think, a ball for the restart over on the far side. They seem to have located one as we pass that halfway point of the first quarter.
Spread out, everybody.
Yeah, and that's it. Tight, packed in so tight. People on the restart, you know, whoever it is on either side can't find a hole to put the ball in play.
And you notice when we have these COVID throw-in-esque situations, they're not doing what we're seeing in the boys' game, that short pass and then the secondary boot.
Which can be as aggressive as you want.
Which can, and have as much lift on it as you want. With the girls, seeing that cluster, and you're not seeing that primary pass to the secondary kick. And so it's really clustering because they're trying to cut it off so early on those COVID throw-ins.
And you know, what I think I'm also seeing is not only is the visiting team evacuating the area by 10 yards, but the home team players seem to be backing off by 10 yards from the ball placement too. When I don't think that's required. At least we haven't seen that in the boys with that little tap in, then the aggressive boot. So
yeah, no, I would agree with that.
Some question about the way the rules are being enforced at the very least, but you know, It's obviously being played differently.
Ball was lost out the right corner as Leominster's Young gave pursuit. It's a goal kick for the Colonials. First, a large substitution. Leominster sends in 1. Colonials send in 4 on that restart. Leominster able to immediately chip it back in off the restart. They control along the near sideline, lost it across the touchline, but they say Leominster keeps.
That matchup over there in the corner with Truest, and I haven't been able to figure out the Shrewsbury number. That's going to be a matchup that I'm going to be very interested to watch all night long. Both of them really, really aggressive, especially on the pursuits of the ball. So that's going to be an interesting matchup to watch.
That was Kyra Forsberg who put it into play, and she got lift on the ball. Now we see a chip in and a secondary contact. Not able to successfully clear their zone, and Mia Forsberg there got her left foot on and launched this one up toward the press box. She just was shanked it off the side of her foot just a little. Go ahead.
And that one's going to be, we got to wait him. But I find that to be a little bit more effective because it spreads the bodies out on the pitch a little bit more, and it gives you more options when you have that secondary hit.
Leominster's going to get the inbound again here as the Colonials lost it off the side.
You know, at the very least, if the girls are going to cluster that inbounds play, you should have more open field to be aggressive with that second kick to get an offensive play.
And now they're both doing it.
And there was a tit for tat there. So finally catching a little bit of methodology.
We didn't see that at all in the first game that we did here from Doyle Field with the girls. Billy and I didn't see it until the boys' game the next night, and we were like, hey, that's good.
Ball bounces off the near sideline, and Leominster will keep, and this will be Kyra Forsberg. Forsberg will slip it into some empty space there. Colonials are going to win the foot race to it. It wind under 7 minutes here in quarter 1. Both teams searching for an opportunity to put a point on the board. Colonials with a little chip getting out in front of the pack there. That was Damaris. Ball is bouncing on an odd angle. Olivia LeBlanc comes out to cut the angle. She slides down, and they slip it past her as it spins across the end line. All LeBlanc could do was lay on her stomach and stare at the goal mouth as the ball rolled a good, solid 10 yards across the goal line.
Just enough momentum to carry herself over the goal line. That's all it took.
No Leominster defenders with backside help on that one. Held up a 1-5, so we go with Dylan Crowell, 15.
And I believe 11 on the assist.
And then 11 on the assist, Kyla O'Leary. That's what it looks like we were signaled.
Still play on.
Either 15 from 11. There is no 26 on the roster that we have, so we'll get that clarified as we get sorted.
16.
16 with no assists, so Brooks Sipowicz will get credited with the goal. That rolled its way on by LeBlanc, who came out aggressively, Kate, tried to smother the ball, and once you gave up your feet, you're stuck at whatever the angle is you have.
Yeah, and I mean, we've been cheering her aggressive play in the net, but, you know, that's that risk reward that you take. If you're going to be, you know, incredibly aggressive, then you're going to have that much space behind you, and as Billy kind of mentioned it, the ball barely made it on its own merit. It kind of dribbled across the goal line, but there was no help on that side on the defensive end for Leominster, so you kind of have to kind of weigh that risk reward on how aggressive you want to be. But I've been very much enjoying her in net, and the 2 games that we've seen her, I like the aggressiveness, so you know what? Go big.
A universally young program are the Lady Blue Devils. 4 seniors is all they have in this girls soccer program right now, and one of them is Olivia LeBlanc. Ball coming toward net, knocked down there by Forsberg. Colonials maintain control. Ball steered toward left sideline, out of play. And as we wind down toward the 5-minute mark of quarter number 1, Shrewsbury 1, Leominster nothing here on Rivalry Family Media. Todd Robbins alongside Bill Thomas. Kate Robbins, happy to have you along with us on a great night here at historic Doyle Field. A lot more soccer to be played, and we're looking forward to bringing it to you. Also welcoming our viewers joining us from Shrewsbury tonight for the first time this season. Great to have you folks joining us as well. Leominster will knock the ball down in the open field, and now it's a race. Young not quite able to get position. The ball angled toward the sideline. Leominster will keep live on the left side until it crosses the end line. Goal kick for the Colonials and Conti. And
I am struggling a little bit with these Shrewsbury unis, the Vegas gold on white.
It's a tough combination.
I'm struggling, I'm not going to lie to you. I want to be able to give some of these young ladies credit, and I'm struggling.
Looks like a double.
I love the combination.
Double line change here for the Blue Devils.
I know.
Yes.
It was
five
off,
five for
five
five.
on. No, Kate, you're absolutely right.
I love
light
the
on
uniforms,
light. I
though.
love the look, but the Vegas gold on white. That's the
struggling.
what is it? University of Central Florida with the white on gold combination. It's a tough combo. When
We
you're
need to bring
spotted.
binoculars. We'll have to remember that. No whistle.
No-
Play on.
no
She
whistle.
gets up
Yeah.
and she
Barrel
goes after
rolls
the
and
ball.
gets back in.
First
Holy
ball heads
that.
out of play.
Not only goes that first one to it to keep playing on.
Whomever
That's
that
two
girl
Blue
is for
Devils.
Shrewsbury.
The
I gotta
epitome
get
of
her
play
number.
on.
That
Just
was
get
amazing.
up and chase the ball. What she did.
That I would believe would be the dictionary definition of play
Yes.
on. My goodness. You barrel roll
She
over the top of the
somersaults
ball.
and boom, ready
My
to go.
goodness.
Can you imagine having that much flexibility left in your
be
body
able
to
to
be able
continue
to
to
do
move?
that? I'd be in traction if I did that. Pliability, right? It's all about pliability.
And off the corner, the drive,
Wow.
LeBlanc deflects it down and then snares it out of the air.
Impressive.
Great save right there.
Indeed.
Playing great in goal. Unfortunately, one miscue. I wouldn't even
Forsberg
call
not
that
able
a
to run it
miscue.
down.
You know, she was aggressive.
No,
Not a
absolutely
miscue.
right.
Just a good play by the offensive play to
It's
get it around her.
Just risk reward. That's
Yep.
all, Bill Thomas.
Yep, not a miscue.
Vince Query looks for an inbound. She'll put it
There
in
we
play, got it back, and then chipped it farther down into the open space. Now the race into the corner. Looking for a center. It was Juten through the center of the box, and over to the far side it goes. This is Malley, who can't run it down, lost across the sideline.
Colonial on each side of the box there. Both of them misfired on it. Couldn't get a leg on it.
And a whistle to restart.
Oh,
Leominster
that's it.
ball on the restart.
Yep, saw that.
Chipped in, and the Colonials waited for it.
Telegraph that one.
And now steering through a pack of Blue Devils. Ball deflected off a shin, spinning on end and run down by Forsberg into the corner.
For Leominster, that inbound has to be clear. It's got to be a lot faster when you're telegraphing who it is that you're kind of trying to lead with the ball, and it comes out in that inbound so gingerly, and you telegraph that, it's going to be cut off every single time by anybody who's head out there.
That second girl needs to be closer, right there on the line to react to it.
But hey, you know what? It's a brand new situation. It's something that's foreign to all these athletes. It's not something that they've been asked to do before. And so all you can do is ask them to learn. That's really all you can ask.
You know, we mentioned 4 seniors. Also note a matching 4 freshmen, a part of this varsity program as well. On there by the Colonials, trying to race it down over to the right corner. Turning the action toward net. That was Zipowitz. And then across the cage, caught the side of the post. And then there was a whistle. Looks like goal kick Leominster.
Another good offense push there by the Colonials.
I called it a free kick. Go ahead, Bill Thomas.
Half
Sorry
a
about
dozen good scoring opportunities in this first quarter. Final 2 minutes of the first quarter.
Damaris will have the restart. Strong drive with the right-to-left curve. It deflected off a Colonial. It's bouncing toward midfield. There it's knocked down by Vince Query. Sends it into the middle of the pile there. This looks like Russo. Centered and taken away there by Gaudinho. And then right back down past and across the sideline. Biancasa might have had a touch on it. And that is the way quarter 1 will come to a close here at Doyle Field with the score Shrewsbury 1 and Leominster 0 on a beautiful night here at historic Doyle Field as both teams head over to their respective benches. Back and forth action is what we have seen thus far, and for the moment, what we are noticing, Bill Thomas, is 2 teams that are pushing the action. They want that win tonight. Right now, Colonials are having the better of that circumstance.
Trying to get us some moon. Yeah, the camera doesn't want to cooperate.
It's up there. Trust us.
Focus us out.
See if we can get a little focus going here.
So what was your question? I'm multitasking.
I've been impressed thus far, Bill Thomas, and both teams trying to push the action thus far.
I mean, Shrewsbury's carried the action. Leominster's had a couple of good scoring opportunities, but at least a half a dozen shots on goal, plus another maybe half a dozen that have gone wide. So Shrewsbury's really carrying the action here. A little pep talk here. This 2-minute break might help to get Leominster Blue Devils back on track here, but they've been outplayed in this first quarter.
Breast Cancer Awareness Night here on Rivalry Family Media. Great opportunity to remind you there is no opportunity too early or too frequent to get tested. Schedule your mammogram today via your doctor. So many things, Bill Thomas, medically, of course, that have taken center stage during this time period. It's these kinds of preventative maintenance periods, to track breast cancer awareness and things of that nature, to be able to make sure that you're maintaining your overall health and not just worried about an ongoing pandemic.
Well, we know that there's more going on than just the pandemic. We can't forget about other people that are suffering in this world from, breast cancer, other cancers, other illnesses. Life goes on for those people, fortunately, and we do what we can to help out those that need our help.
And you talk
We're showing it tonight with a little bit of pink.
Absolutely.
Talk about preventative maintenance as well. Cancer doesn't wait for the pandemic, so the more proactive that you can be, the better your chances at early detection and taking care of things.
Absolutely. Early detection is the key to success. And we, of course, acknowledge all of those wonderful survivors out there that have battled and continue to battle, those that have battled and continue to battle this insidious disease of breast cancer. Setting up for the second 20 minutes here in the first half. Leominster chasing one. For the Colonials, worth noting, that goal was their first goal of the season.
It's true. That is true.
Fourth game of the year, rescheduled from last week, having lost to Wachusett Westboro by a 5-0 and 5-3 score respectively, and then a 0-0 draw with Algonquin. And the Colonials find themselves with a 1-0 lead as we start second quarter action. Leominster pushes the play here, and Vince Query's going to go down. Nope, check it. Heading down into that corner, it was Juten. Back toward midfield. Tip back to the near side, it's Forsberg. Forsberg, a little stop-start, turns toward the touchline and picked away by Russo. Yeah, trying to keep away is not going to last forever.
Well, from 3 separate Colonials, that means that there have to be some blue jerseys open and available to help out.
Forsberg has it taken away. Back downfield, Leominster in the foot race. It's Femino McNamara. She'll win the race to it. Turns, slows down the ball, and then launches it back up left sideline. Only to be taken away by Juten. Juten now chips it, middle of the pack. Touched on there. Nice play. It's Russo. Spring loose. Shot over the top of LeBlanc, and then banged in from the left corner. It's a Colonial goal.
Good initial save there, but couldn't cover that far side. Good rebound awareness.
Sometimes it ends up in the open space, and there isn't much you can do about it.
5 from 22.
And so it's Hannah Bergenquist who gets credited for the goal. Avery Marzo with the assist officially for the Colonials. And now they've got a pair of goals this season in a 2-0 lead. 18:56 to play here in the second quarter. Latino with the restart. Back to Gaudino. Gaudino. And the signal will be Leominster ball as it was played illegally by the Colonials.
One of the few stoppages in play we've seen in the open field.
Damaris with a little chip restart. Now works its way over to the near side. Gaudino. Damaris has it crashed through over on the far side by Mudd. Mudd working the left sideline. And now battle for the ball. Turned back up across that left sideline and out of play. Colonials will have the Nope, check it. Leominster will have the reinsert. Messenger sent downfield, hops right about the midfield stripe. Still bouncing there. Chipped into the middle of the pack. It's Juten. Juten looking for a lead, and signal called against Shrewsbury. It was an offside call. A lot of instructions out there on all sides, officials included, as they try to steer the traffic.
Well, and that's been one of the difficult parts of this this Fall 1 season, is because there are so many things that are different. There's this constant narrative having to go on between the coaches and the officials and the officials and the athletes and the coaches and the athletes and the athletes and the coaches. And so it's this constant kind of working things out in kind of long form, long division type situation. And so it can slow things down.
Without question there, when I spoke via email with the coaches, that would be Scott and Bryant of Leominster, the co-head coaches, some of the keys they were looking to, they're running this 4-4-2 tactical formation with the hopes of slowing teams down through the middle of the field, with the hope that they can create the chances to move the ball forward to grant their team some scoring opportunities. That explains some of that clogged traffic through the middle of the field. It's something Leominster's deliberately trying to work toward. It just hasn't yielded the loose ball opportunities they'd hoped for, other than maybe once or twice. Their best scoring opportunities have come out of the pack with lead passes heading out downfield ahead of the action.
Yeah, Shrewsbury's doing a good job midfield, stopping any consistent rushes by the midfielders for Leominster.
Now the old cliche, Bill Thomas, the picket fence. Literally, when you're wearing white and gold, it looks like a picket fence standing right across the football version of 40-yard line.
We've contemplated what this would look like similar to field hockey. Let's play some 7-on-7 and see if we can open it up
create
a
some
bit.
space.
And then allow the sub on the fly. Get more girls involved.
Ball squirts loose and is pitched forward there by Arsenault. Now a foot race for the ball down the left sideline. Colonials get to it first. Look like Juten. And Juten steered it away across sideline. Leominster with a substitution coming in. It's Melanson who will join the fray. She will spell.
22.
Looks like Arsenal. And then the whistle to be in play. Leominster tries to put it in play. Knocked off of them and across the line. And so the ball back to the Colonials on the restart at 15-15 to play here in quarter 2. And the Colonials with the 2-0 lead.
In the cathedral that is Doyle Field.
Indeed. Sometimes it does feel a bit like you're pontificating at Sunday morning service, but that is how it is. That is sports in COVID world. Ball chipped on there. LeBlanc will come out and will slide down on top of it to maintain control and now steer action downfield. Hard one hopping Latino tried to run it down along the sideline, couldn't get to it. And now the Colonials
Wholesale changes.
with wholesale changes indeed, as a large sum of them will come toward the near side to applause from their teammates over on the bench left of us. Leominster knocked the ball down there. It was Femino McNamara blocking that inbound play. And now step through there. Nice play made on the fly by Smith. And loose ball act turned back the other way at that picket Colonial fence that exists.
A lot of contact.
Indeed. There's been a significant increase in body contact tonight. That was a little shoulder shiver there. And the ball steers loose, whistled down, and it will be Leominster free kick. This will be Damaris on the restart. Official, steer action. Touch. Damaris' drive. Comes down the near side off Femino McNamara. Tried to play a little threefer there. That ball skunned the head of Gaudino on the way downfield. And now the ball squirts loose out of a pile. Colonials win the foot race to the front of the goal mouth. Trying to make the connection there, and Leominster does a nice job to steer it away.
It's that same player again. It's 12. I think it's going to be...
Yeah, it's Melanson.
Yeah, it is Melanson. 2 times has gone in there and kick saved on behalf of Leominster's defense. So nice job when things get a little bit hectic in there. She's doing a great job of helping out LeBlanc with a kick save.
Damaris with the free kick. Launched it downfield. Tried a little shoulder play there, did Young. Ball hopped a little bit higher than she anticipated. Now the ball gets chipped over to the near side and into the Leominster bench. And, of course, the tough part is nobody can touch it. Sitting up on things, you got to try to push it down. I mean, did I mention this is sports in a COVID world? I mean, it makes life a heck of a lot more difficult.
You can do everything but touch it with your hands.
That's right.
Or your head.
Or your head on the when it's in play, I suppose.
Very few appendages are permitted.
In a sport where few are permitted to begin with. A little back and forth passing there, a little nifty move. It was Vlaus who could not drive it in as it was knocked down off Demarius along the box. And now across the end line, looks like it should be a Colonial corner.
A Colonial COVID corner?
Yeah, go for
alliteration.
Love the alliteration.
Galore.
Can you get another C in there? As darkness finally falls here at historic Doyle Field, 11:45 to play in the second quarter and a 2-0 Shrewsbury lead. Shrewsbury will work a 2-player restart. Fitzquary has the long kick and from a tough angle throws it through the uprights. I gotta tell you, that's good for a 3 in another sport. It's good for at least 2 in rugby. I was gonna say from a tough
more
angle.
like a rugby angle.
My goodness.
We'll give her a 2 for that.
Certainly could use that on certain nights.
Yeah, don't let the football coaches see you. You'll be suiting up.
If you can hit it from that angle.
You'll be suiting up.
Across the end line it goes. Goal kick, Leominster. 11 minutes to play here in quarter
hang out
number
with
2.
smelly football players, though. No.
You don't get your own locker room?
Oh, of course you do.
Of course you do.
Of course you do.
Where, the parking lot?
Well, I was
right?
going to say, we'll give Bill Thomas the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
He doesn't work in public education.
Yeah.
Hey, you never know these days.
Melanson with a full restart right down the middle of the field. It was knocked down and packed coming loose there by Juten. And now Juten creates her own space. Juten steps around a defender, launch ball, and hits Damaris right between the 4-2 on the back of her jersey. And then the elbow called against the Colonials. And so it will be Leominster ball in the free kick.
They're getting it. Here we go.
Yep.
There we go. See, so much more effective.
It's almost like they talked about that during the break. Be more aware of it.
I doubt it, but hopefully. Leominster defense tightening up quite a bit, which is nice to see.
Ball deflected loose. Arias tried to send it toward the touch line, couldn't get it across and out of play. Leominster able to play it waist high by Young. Now moves it on forward and knocked down and across the touch line. Leominster will get the ball. 9:50 and counting to play here in quarter 2. Chasing 2-0 Colonials here at Doyle Field on a Wednesday night.
Needs some help. That happens again.
Yeah, once again, no help from a Blue Devil. Make a connection, and now it pops loose for the Colonials. Here's a race to the box. Leominster tries to get in the way. It was Femino McNamara able to slow the action down at least temporarily and caused enough of a disturbance that the Colonials will launch it over the end line. Ball back to Leominster. Fortunate opportunity and a great defensive play in a scramble by Femino McNamara. Now is Melanson. Restart up the center of the field. Colonials denied. Send it right back onto the offensive side of the field. Connection made there. Colonials start to move it. It's Juten looking for a centering pass. Steered away again by Autumn Femino McNamara. Colonials will get the throw in. Chip down toward the center. LeBlanc sliding in and able to grab control of that 1.5 minutes to play here in quarter 2.
See Femino McNamara boxing out for LeBlanc, make sure that number 1, everybody stopped. Number 2, she was protected. And number 3, nobody was going after the ball.
No question. Colonials on the throw. Chipped in. Knocked down by Damaris. Damaris, big contact on the shoulders. Colonials take the ball away, jarring it loose. This is Vlahos trying to find a lead pass, couldn't do it. Go will step in there, and a push called. And so a Leominster free kick. Leominster coaching staff looking to try to gain some space. Wants them to create some wide space. Meanwhile, this time, instead of driving it downfield, Demarius will pitch it onto herself off the restart and then goes over the top of Sippets, drawing yet another whistle and another free kick. And this time she's got the space. Looking long downfield into a pile. Vince Sequeri tried to drive back at her and couldn't do it. Check it. That was Sipowicz again. And Leominster's best momentum here of recent minutes is already turned back the other way. And now stripped away once again. This is Juten. Juten through the middle of the field. Tries to make a connection to the left. And offside call.
Seems like the majority of the second quarter has been played in the Leominster half of the field here. A couple of good rushes, but they've been thwarted by the Colonials defense.
Right now, Damaris lame on field, taking a knee at the 29-yard line, waiting for some relief.
And the officials say wait till the ball goes across the touchline. It now has, and they're going to bring the subs on, and Demarius is going to walk off with good news on her own power to the near sideline.
She's been a big girl here in the second half.
Right quad.
Second quarter on defense.
Looks like right quad is giving her a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, certainly has had a number of restarts.
She's got it wrapped already.
Yeah.
But as you said, good news on her own power. Looks like it's, you know, just an item that they're having to, number one, monitor and trying to nurse.
With that magic spray they used to break out, and was cured all leg and hand injuries.
This doesn't appear to be a spray. It appears to be an ointment, but I think it amounts to about the same thing, Bill Thomas. As the ball gets high over the Leominster bench and into the third row, and it'll be Leominster ball. This is Arsenault. She'll have the trigger on the restart. Makes a connection. Finds Smith. Right back to her. Battle for the ball. Vince Query pushes it forward. Now chipped on. The race. Melanson up front for Leominster. Runs into her shoulder. There's a full-on Heisman stiff arm, and players end up over the pile.
I think I saw Henry do that in the football game the other night. Put somebody on their back on the way to a touchdown, but that was a little aggressive right there.
You know, you see the officials with the kind of the calm down signal. Yeah, maybe just a little bit.
Well, and that's one of the things that you don't want to necessarily generalize, but I will take the liberty. Sometimes in high school athletics, with regard to female sports in particular, that type of aggressive contact can sometimes.
Coming out to challenge it was LeBlanc, and LeBlanc loses her foot and ankle, and it is driven home by the Colonials.
Another good rush.
15 from 4. Crowell from Conant.
Sometimes with that excessive contact, young ladies can take exception to that, and sometimes cooler heads do not always prevail in those moments. But again, that is a generalization, so certainly not, you know, every female in athletics, but you do see that sometimes.
It can boil over. It boils over on both sides. I'm quite confident that's why the tight whistles we saw in the boys' game.
Yeah, I think it was more preventative in that instance, yes.
In some standpoints, to avoid letting things, you know, kind of digress. And in this particular case, they've had the opportunity to play a little bit more. But when the contact starts to increase, like you said, the emotions tend to increase going along with it, male, female, or otherwise.
Got it.
Players start to move forward as, again, I will remind you, all athletes naturally would. Understand, you're asking an athlete to do something that is not innate to them, which is run away from the restart. And I mean, every sport, every bat, ball sport, whether it's basketball, hockey, any of those sports, what's the whole thing? You go to the pass. You go to the ball. And soccer is no different, but under these rules, you're asking them to run away from their connection to restart a play.
And Todd, that's been your general thesis over the course of this Fall 1 season thus far. Obviously, seeing it in soccer, seeing it in field hockey as well. Can't even imagine what we're going to see in the winter, Fall 2, and the spring season. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how things get tweaked in those instances, because you're seeing a major contributing factor with the COVID penalties, and as you said, asking student athletes to do things that are not natural in an effort to try to abide by these COVID rules.
Yeah, when you've trained as an athlete, and I would put this to the professional and college ranked athletes as well that have been asked to play under these circumstances as well. It is not easy to ask an athlete who has spent a large portion of their career doing things a certain way to all of a sudden, just on a whim, to say, hey, we're going to restart playing. You're going to get a handful of practices, by the way. Do everything innately opposite to what it is that you have been taught to do. It's not easy. I give all the athletes that are out there competing under these circumstances a ton of credit for working through this. And of course, to the benefit of, health of getting out there to play, the opportunity to get, beyond for a couple of hours between the lines, aside from the COVID modifications and rules we've tracked, it's the sport of soccer.
Yep.
Or maybe it's field hockey or others that are out there as well. And I give them a lot of credit for being able to go through and do that and make these changes in a very disciplined fashion. But to your point, Kate, I do think it does bear mentioning at least once, if not more than once on a broadcast, this point, just how different it is from what we would normally see under usual circumstances.
And to the layperson, which I would consider myself essentially that with regard to field hockey and boys and girls soccer, I don't notice a ton, obviously, because this is not an area that is native to me. But I mean, even the layperson like myself can see the whistles, can see people shying away from theirs, can see the fact that there are no throw-ins, can see kind of the discombobulation on those COVID throw-ins and the corners, how long certain things take to develop. And if I can see that, I can only imagine what a avid fan is seeing.
Without question. We've reached that 2-minute mark as
Play
we are
on.
under 2 minutes. Bodies down on the field. Play on is the signal. We're well under the 2-minute mark.
I can also see that.
Heading toward halftime as the time
Incidental
will continue
contact.
to wind down. Leominster gets out on a break.
1 on 3.
5 seconds remaining here as the ball comes toward the near touch line. They say ball, and then they blow the double whistle to say halftime here at historic Doyle Field. At halftime, Shrewsbury 3, Leominster nothing through 1 half of play. Girls soccer here on RFM. On Breast Cancer Awareness Night, remember, contact your doctor, perform self-checks, and be sure to get your mammogram on schedule each and every year if you are well within the time period or if you are at increased risk. We're behind you if you are going through, a battle of cancer of your own or, of course, among your family. We certainly know how difficult that can be. Just know we are all thinking of you and joined by the larger athletic community.
And to your point, Todd, there doesn't, really seem to be anyone in the country that isn't at least peripherally touched by disease. There's somebody in your family, there's somebody in your acquaintance, there's somebody within your nucleus that has been touched by this awful disease, whether it be breast cancer or any type of cancer. So, as you said, awful, awful disease, and something that scientific community should continue to work hard to get rid of, because it's just awful.
The American Cancer Society reminds you early detection is key. Happy to be a part of this reminder tonight as part of our broadcast here on Rivalry Family Media. Halftime here at Doyle Field, Shrewsbury 3 and Leominster 0. A break, we're back with second half action. This is RFM.
Halftime at historic Doyle Field here on Rivalry Family Media. Happy to have you back with us here on our Sounds of the Game. Remember, you're seeing this game in same-day delay action from earlier on.
Second of three.
Halftime at historic Doyle Field here on Rivalry Family Media. Happy to have you back with us here on our Sounds of the Game. Remember, you're seeing this game in same-day delay action from earlier on today at historic Doyle Field, presented with the sights and sounds just the way you would have seen them from the stands at historic Doyle Field. We invite you to continue to be a part of our family as action continues throughout the year. More information on the schedule available, facebook.com/Media Rivalry, on Twitter @Media Rivalry, as well as on YouTube, search Rivalry Family Media. Games available on demand along with the rest of this season and seasons gone by as well. Any of the action here on Rivalry Family Media can be found at your leisure on demand on YouTube. We'll get you back out to second half action as we continue here on Rivalry Family Media.
A 3-0 Shrewsbury lead as teams change ends for the second half. And then tomorrow night, third and final signature play-by-play broadcast of the week, Leominster and Algonquin as originally scheduled in boys soccer action here from historic Doyle Field. All games here in fall season 1 in support of Midwatch Athletics, available on same-day delay on Rivalry Family Media. Facebook.com/Media Rivalry, 9 o'clock same-day delay rebroadcast, and then available on demand shortly thereafter on YouTube. Search and subscribe, Rivalry Family Media. Colonials with immediate control, and right out of the chute, the foot shot driven in on LeBlanc, and she will grab control of it. Not 30 seconds gone by in the third quarter. We'll see very quickly what's been diagrammed up here in the start of the second half. Bill Thomas, Leominster is looking for opportunities here, and you can't get 3 goals all in one fell swoop. So you got to put it together, connective tissue, 1 goal at a time.
No, but I see Shrewsbury coming out right away, working those long sideline passes already with 1 good offensive opportunity and continuing to attack. And Leominster defense at midfield's not stopping that initial long pass down the sidelines, which leading to plays in front of the goal.
Out across the touchline once again. Signal is Leominster ball. 3-0 Shrewsbury's lead. Almost 2 minutes gone by here in the third quarter. Little ping pong action across midfield. Settled down now by Ryder. Ryder's for a connection through the middle of the field. Can't do it, and Melanson will launch it down across the midfield stripe and run down by a Colonial along the left touch line before it's steered out of bounds, and the ball will go to Leominster. On the restart.
Philosophy for Leominster on these restarts it differs every single time, but Shrewsbury able to get possession of ball on almost every single Leominster restart on these sides, on these COVID throw-ins.
Okay, this is one of those things, and I know you can appreciate this as a coach. When you're in search of trying to find a combination of things that work, experimentation continues on the fly until you find the right combination of choices, both as a coach and to your players, to get some success going, to get that momentum going you were talking about at the start of the broadcast.
Yeah, that's probably what we're seeing right now. Another body splayed.
Indeed. That was Forsberg. Sends it out across the left touch line there. Leominster will get the benefit of the throw-in. Chipped on there. Now move toward the middle of the field. Not able to make the connection. Leominster will chip it back and try to reconnect. Melanson racing for it. She'll keep it in alive. Right foot drive back toward middle of the field. Create some space there. It was Trieste. And she was giving up quite a bit of height advantage on that particular play.
And she has been for the majority of the night, but her speed has been her greatest attribute, and she is chippy. She'll get in and she'll body up on somebody even if she's giving up 5 or 6 inches. and her speed has really been helping her get into those corners and maintain possession for Leominster as often as she possibly can.
Troyes, the freshman, the great equalizer with the speed, getting some great varsity game action. Should pay dividends for the program long term.
And that's the interesting thing. You said 4 seniors, 4 freshmen for the Lady Blue Devils, and that brings a very interesting dynamic. Having been a freshman on a varsity squad in high school and obviously having been a senior on a varsity squad, not soccer, it's a very, very different dynamic when you have younger people that are on the varsity. Number one, it puts great pressure on your upper class because no job is safe. You cannot, rest on your laurels if you're an upperclassman, because if you have an underclassman that's ready to come in and take your job, you get to see him every day at practice. And so it certainly brings that, that sense of competition. And so that is a good thing. But when you have seniors and you have freshmen, there is a lot of distance in age there. And although it's only 4 years, there's a lot of development physically, mentally, emotionally, socially that goes on with young women and young men at this age. And it's a very interesting dynamic when you have a handful of upperclassmen like that and a handful of freshmen all on the varsity together. It brings about a very interesting dynamic, having walked that path before.
Ball lost across the end line, goal kick for Leominster. I think your point is absolutely excellent. I think what is lost, though, on your point, I think that you're highly undervalued, is your soccer experience on the fields of gym right behind Leominster High School. How many times do we play soccer under the direction of Coach Dubzinski, Coach Meyer, Coach Nicholson, and Coach Viette? I think you are sorely underestimating your experience. Hey, get it out there and let's go. It's time to go. In November, these are the great days for gym class.
The worst was Aunt Pat had us out there till November. Luckily, I was in gym classes. Aunt Pat was not my gym teacher, but I was out there with Coach Dubs, and they would be all bundled up, and it was November, and they would roll out the soccer ball, ready, play, and you just be like, but it's 30 degrees outside.
Learned a lot about soccer action. I found myself in mud-covered clothing on more than one occasion, covering cone to cone in a particular end.
All that means is you got full participation for the day. If you came back in with mud, that's all that meant.
You better believe it.
High school hero over here in gym class.
It's the extent
my
broadcasting career began extracurricularly at that point. So literally, that was it. Ball out across the sideline.
You'd rather talk about the mud to play in it.
Todd doesn't do
Boy, it's awful muddy out there.
Todd might go mudding, but he does not like to get muddy. Let's just say that.
That about covers it. Yeah,
Lewis Lit of the family.
I don't know if that's exactly right, but I think that about covers it.
You've been lit up.
That's right. Passing 6 minutes into this third quarter.
Want to go mudding?
For our Suits fans out there, man, there's another program miss. 3-0 Colonial lead. 13:40 to play here in quarter three, and happy to have you along with us. Thank you for taking some time out of your evening and supporting Mid-Watch Athletics here on RFM. Great opportunity to have you all here with us.
Billy, did you get A's in gym in high school?
Oh, yeah, except they wanted me to climb the rope. I could never climb that rope.
They make you write now in gym class.
I was going to say,
do they even still have gym class?
Of course
they do have gym class, and yes, there are essays involved, which, I mean, means...
I think
I was going to say, I mean,
bring a pen to gym class. Huh?
I was going to say, that tends to be all the problem. It always concerns me when that's the case.
Gym was, I loved gym class.
4.5 years required, 1.5 year each of the 4 years you're in high school is the state requirement these days.
Basketball was my favorite season of gym class.
Oh, without a doubt.
Playing horse.
Which could be spelled by the periodic knockout, could be spelled by the periodic playing of ping pong when the tables would come out.
Did you know that my brother ended up having to do, and I know that this is actually a class, Bill Thomas, at Shrewsbury High School, I can attest. They have like ballroom dancing as a class at Shrewsbury. It's part of the physical education curriculum, and they have, I mean, they do the waltz, they have all sorts of different dances. And in Leominster High School, I remember my brother Steve, a 92 graduate, talking about having to do ballroom dancing as part of the gym curriculum with Coach Viette.
Absolutely.
Can you fathom?
Oh, wow.
I believe it.
Can you fathom?
I believe. I'll bet it was one of his favorite units.
No, probably not.
I have absolutely no doubt.
I think it was actually line dancing at Leominster in the 90s.
I think you're right. I'm pretty confident it would have been line dancing if I had to guess.
You had to do
I
line
vaguely
dancing.
seem to remember there being a line dance curriculum at the time when we were there,
Oh,
too.
God, no. No way.
Yeah, there was. More than you would have imagined.
Who was teaching that?
One of the courses that I took, I just can't remember whom. Yeah, that didn't fall out of style until after I think we went through. Maybe it was freshman year.
Became passe.
And then it became passe. Then we were on to other things, other more important items. So many important things to learn through athletics.
Benincasa for the Blue Devils being taken, doing a nice job. Again, pliability that I don't have to be able to bounce right back up off turf to pursue the ball on the far side. I couldn't do it. Again, I would be in traction. There'd be a room reserved for me at Leominster Hospital right down the road.
11:10 to play here, quarter three. Leominster trying to put together an opportunity that can turn the tide downfield, and they just haven't been able to seemingly get through three-quarter field, if you will, or roughly that 30-yard line. This ball will now chip down, but way, way out of her goal box is Conti, and then a whole mess of bodies go down right around the ball 20-yard line.
I know it's been well chronicled on all of our programs, but I definitely never been able to play this sport, field hockey, just simply because of the fact my personal basketball, hockey, my personal space bubble is so large that I just can't. Things like volleyball, you stay, Kate, stay on this side of the net. Swimming, here's your lane, you know, like, and yet I still got a black eye in swimming.
You might be the only one to ever have gotten a black eye in swimming.
Yep.
I believe it. Last second substitution here. I don't know if we had an injury or some kind of a mask.
Yep, mask.
Yep. We got technical difficulties.
Direct
kick, shot, knocked down by Conti. And yeah, it was Troy Est who had to come over the near side. Technical difficulties with the mask. One of the strings broke. I mean, again, it's athletics under COVID protocols.
Could they hand her a mask on the fly, or did she just sub
She had to come over. Yeah, she came out. They subbed her out, and they got her it was like one of those NASCAR pit stops, Bill Thomas.
Well, that's it. She should have been able to run back on the field. Just hand her the mask on the way by.
The way they went. Shot comes through the pack and right into the bread basket of LeBlanc.
Good job right there again. She's got at least a dozen saves, I'm guessing. Playing great in goal tonight.
Goal under fire for certain.
She's been keeping him in it. I know it's 3-0 game, but it's been pretty closely contested.
Follow the bouncing ball right into the Colonial end. Now Leominster a little backward to go forward, create some space, launch it into the free space. Now you've got to win the foot race. The battle down toward the end line, and it will cross out of play. Free for the Colonials. 8:55 to play here in quarter three. Shrewsbury 3, Leominster 0 on Wednesday night here on Rivalry Family Media.
Hear a lawnmower.
I do too. Colonials will set up the goal kick.
Nice range by the Shrewsbury goalie on that.
Conti was able to move it out to midfield off of her right foot. Leominster sent it right back in, and now the battle coming out of the pile.
Bunches of people.
Yeah, very closely packed as you're moving your way through the field.
It's like Route 2 East on a Monday morning.
Indeed. Off the touchline, ball back to the Colonials.
Todd treats that like Le Mans, Billy.
Sometimes I treat it like an obstacle course.
A
rally course, back and forth, back and forth.
For the record, I respect all Massachusetts laws relating to drive and drive very safely, piloting my vehicle from one location to another, point A, point B. For the record.
I'm just going to laugh.
We're just going to
on the record. You just want that on the record.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
That's for the record, on the record.
Yes.
Yeah, one of those.
What time do you commute to work?
Don't go look for me.
Early.
Don't pass out my license plate. 7:37 to play here in quarter three, and over into the Leominster bench.
Nice kick save by Coach Hool.
Coach's Hool get the knockdown here over to the near side.
Kudos.
Not easy in dress pants, by the way, to pull that off.
No. You're going to be sharply dressed, ready for anything.
Absolutely.
It's a convertible outfit. Go right from here to boardroom.
Leominster ball off the restart. I believe there was a whistle to restart, and the ball wasn't. Like, the
I'm
ball
not
moved.
sure the ball was out, but a Shrewsbury girl came off the sideline and stopped it right
very
on the
politely.
edge.
Melanson will chip it through the middle of the field, and the Colonials will send it right back into the Leominster end. And right back out it goes. And there
Way to
was a
push.
push on the play. Yeah, I agree with
The
that.
block back.
Yeah, and so it will be Leominster free kick. 6.5 here to go, third quarter.
I've been Melanson coming up for the Blue Devils ball. Very impressed with her play tonight. Nice and steady, doing a great job on the defensive end to get rid of anything that anywhere near the goal, helping out LeBlanc on multiple occasions. Is she a senior?
Well, we have this great little roster here, Keith. It'll point at the right programs.
Yes,
programs.
no,
Can't tell a player without a program.
She is a senior. You can just tell by her demeanor out there that she is she's an upperclassman, a veteran on this team. Very impressed with her play tonight.
Melanson puts it in play. Into the pile and steered away by the white and gold. And now the race over to the near touch line. 8 is Kalinowski. Tries to send it on net, but it is wide to the left. Goal kick Leicester.
And that one dribbled harmlessly to the left of the goal. LeBlanc getting another ball to Melanson.
And Melanson will take the restart, passing 5.5 minutes to go here in the third. O'Neill's up through the middle of the field. Chip back.
There's a swarm.
Yeah, indeed. And Leominster's defense was able to at least buy themselves some time out through the middle of the field. That was Cuddy trying to race back, pick up the loose ball. And now sent right back down. Knocked down. Over to the near side. This is Kalinowski. Kalinowski slows it down. Chip to the middle of the field. Knocked down there by Melanson. Melanson buys some time, creating a little bit of space, moving the ball out. Now Leominster steers the angle. To move up the right sideline. On the attack, here come the Blue Devils. It's Biancasa. Looks to center for Cudahy. And Cudahy loses control, at least momentarily. The Colonials will stem the tide. But now Leominster right back on the attack. Here's Rodriguez. Rodriguez makes a connection with O'Malley. O'Malley looking for a centering opportunity from the right side, and the defense able to break up the attack. And the ball rolls harmlessly, in Kate's words, to Conti, where she can trap and send punt back downfield.
You haven't seen it tonight, but number 4, Godinho, for the Blue Devils in the last game, I think she had like 2 or 3 times where she went up for a header and he made contact with the ball. She's gone up at least 3 or 4 times tonight and luckily has missed. And every single time in the last game was apologizing, obviously, because as you said, not naturally what she would, be doing in a non-COVID year. Hasn't happened tonight, but I've seen her go up a few times for it.
You can see Leominster with a sudden urgency here. All of a sudden, seemingly like a little spark has gotten into them here.
Second wind.
And yeah, perhaps, maybe finally feeling the opportunity like this can roll in their direction.
Well, I mean, when you think of the differentials in the games that they have played, their game on the 6th against Algonquin was a 7-0 contest. So by the time you get to the end of the third quarter, that game seemingly potentially out of reach.
Certainly.
Their game against Westboro was a nail-biter, a 2-1 loss. And then their game on the 20th, that was actually yesterday, against Wachusett, a 6-0 game. So that one may have been out of reach by the time you get here. They're still in this. There's nothing to say that, a 3-goal deficit is not insurmountable.
Ball is lost over the end line, last touched by Blue, and so it will be a Colonial corner.
And if you're a coach, seeing that spark is exactly what you want out of your players.
You can work with that.
You can work with that. They're not giving up. And they've been in, 1 close contest this year and 2 that were fairly lopsided.
Launched to the middle of the box. Popped up in the air. Knocked down there by Forsberg.
Nice job by the defense to get that ball away from the net. Been very impressed with that defense by the Blue Devils tonight.
Fennel McNamara tried to chase it down, and it skeeters out across the end line. It will be goal kick Leominster.
Bill Thomas, I think Todd Robbins has been practicing his verbs. Skeeters?
Yes.
Well
You
done.
got to change it up every so often.
Okay, Doc Emmerich.
Without a doubt. A salute to Doc Emmerich, retiring from NBC after being the longtime voice of professional hockey in the United States.
I think he said, 300 different verbs to describe the movement of a hockey puck is what he came up with?
Without a doubt. I'd be satisfied with about a $1.99 of those, if you will.
My vocabulary is about as extensive as a takeout menu.
Oh, now. Ball chipped on there by Conant. Conant over to the left touchline.
Nice
Tries
job.
to center. Bergenquist was denied. And now over to the corner.
Nice job by Young on that to deflect that ball.
Juten centers. Knocked back away toward the touchline as we fall under the 2-minute mark here of quarter 3. And now out across the touchline, no signal, and it does appear it's going to be Colonial ball.
Forsberg did a nice job deflecting touch as well. Again, I know I've harped on it a little bit, but very impressed with the Blue Devil defense, especially proximal to the net.
That inbound there got Melanson right in the chin. She tried to get out of the way.
You know she wants to use her head to knock that down, but she just kind of, it looked like she got caught in the middle right there. It's unfortunate.
Well, and that's a great point,
Didn't know what to do. She would have normally
headed
that
ball
down.
And so instead she takes it off the chin because she's caught thinking. I get why the decisions had to be made, but that is a great, kind of demonstration of when you blink or you have to think, the game's already passed you by and you're already getting hit with the ball.
And in some cases, as a coach, that's the last thing you want your athletes to be doing is thinking.
Absolutely.
You want it to be coming.
It's a reaction.
Yes.
I think we just saw it right there.
I agree.
Ends up taking a ball in the face when she should have just lowered her head and headbutted the ground to her feet.
And you certainly can't, I mean, I don't know how I would react out there. So you certainly can't blame the student athletes for having reactions that are not necessarily in tune with COVID Fall 1 here.
I'm trying to imagine an example. It would be, I guess the closest softball example I could come up with would be, well, you can only play ground balls that are off your left hip. If they go to your backhand, you can't play the ground ball. It's a tough balance.
You gotta let it go through.
Yeah, 3 quarters in the books at historic Doyle Field, the all-important 4th and final quarter on tap. It's Shrewsbury 3 and Leominster 0 through 3 quarters. We'll step aside. Quick break coming up here on Breast Cancer Awareness Night. 4th quarter here on RFM On Deck. Back inside historic Doyle Field. 4th quarter about to get underway. Cleals will put the ball in play, going right to left under moonlit skies here at historic Doyle Field. 4 seconds gone by here in quarter 4. And it's a Colonial 3-0 advantage. Through the midfield. This is Morris. Morris comes over to the near side, makes a connection with Bergenquist. Bergenquist down the left sideline. Up there by the Blue Devils. And toward the near side, played down off a hip. Now the near side, it's Morris. Morris with the entry pass, denied, sent right back out. And then a push from behind. This will be Colonial ball.
Even though we're quite early on in the 4th quarter, I'm a little bit surprised at the pace that Shrewsbury's been willing to play right here. New goalie in the game for Leominster.
Yeah, I'm just noticing the same thing.
It's going to be Dupuy.
Yes, Mallory Dupuy.
And a goal.
And ball slips by Dupuy and into the back of the cage.
That was, I'm not sure she saw that coming. It bounced in front of her, and she didn't react until it was already bouncing over her head. Threw a heavy screen right there. I don't think she was expecting that shot. O'Leary
unassisted 1 minute into the 4th, and it's a 4-0 Colonial advantage.
I think now you'll see Shrewsbury. I was a little bit surprised with the pace that Shrewsbury was willing to play. With that 3-0 lead, you're going to want to milk the clock for everything that it's worth. You do not need to do anything but hold on to that ball and essentially play, catch or pass.
Four-corner stall definitely would be the theoretical preferred movement here, Kate, but you've got to imagine with a team that had lost their first 2 games by a combined 8-0 score and then a 0-0 draw.
Let the horses out of the barn.
Well, let the horses out of the barn, or just conceptually, you've been trying to learn how to score, let alone worrying about how to win. Now you've got a 4-goal advantage at 4th, and you now got to figure out how to make that strategy work to win the game. And I agree with you. I think that's the strategy. The strategy is to slow down the action and play catch with it.
Well, and when you hear people talk about, learning how to win, it kind of seems as a foreign. Well, you have the numbers on the scoreboard, but
One
really,
more goal than the other team, right?
but really it does become a situation of philosophy and theory at this point. And, one often forgets as an adult, you're dealing with, 14, 15, 16, 17-year-old athletes, and they may not have been taught, or it doesn't necessarily come second nature to them, because as I said, they've been in 3 losing contests to start out this year, so it's not something that necessarily has been a concept that they've had to employ thus far this season.
And let's face it also, and I think on both sides would be appreciated to make this point among all sports that we've been covering here in Fall 1, and that would be the thought as another goal goes by. Dupuy, trial by fire here. That one short corner on the right post. She makes a dive and times it just a fraction late. And that one rattles the back of the net, 5-0. Now the Shrewsbury lead.
And I will say, we saw Dupuy, Billy and I did in the last contest. She played the entire second half in the contest that we saw last week. And she did a very nice job. She was solid in net for the second half, had some incredibly impressive saves for Leominster. So please don't think that those 2 quick goals here starting in the 4th are indicative of the level of play that we saw last week from Dupuy in net.
Calista Vlahos will get credit with the goal for the Colonials, the 5th of the night. And Kate, I think you make a great point, which allows me to circle back to the point that I was going to talk about right before that ball went in, which is about the lack of practice time. Practices, were non-existent before the season started. There was, maybe a few to get players, into conditioning shape, but certainly not enough time to cover a lot of the strategies we were talking about, like working on how to win when you have a 4-goal lead in the 4th quarter. Or, on day-to-day, you had weather all last week. That's going to cut into your outdoor practice. We saw all games and practices being canceled across central Massachusetts. Athletics right now is a much, much different thing. As much as these are varsity athletics and varsity contests, the one thing that all athletic administrators, athletic directors, and the state associations across the country have said, the important part here is not about the playoffs. Thus, what you saw today with MIAA making the decision not to sponsor any of their winter tournaments either. The athletic administrators are most primarily concerned with the playing of games. And so what that has changed sports to is much more of a social recreational activity than the typical varsity win-at-all-costs mentality that we're used to seeing at the high school level.
Well, they're seeing a lot more camaraderie amongst these mid-watch teams as well, because you truly are in it together. Because if one school ends up having to go down, and shutting down, like I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Worcester Public Schools had to shut down their athletics for Fall 1 because of the
they made a very last-minute decision not to participate.
Correct. And so it doesn't just affect your school district. For instance, the cohort that Leominster and Shrewsbury are in also contains Algonquin and Westboro. If 1 or 2 of these schools are not able to participate, the ripple effect is felt not just by your public school district. It's felt as a ripple down to 3 other school districts and then the MIAA as a whole. And so there really is a big interdependence between these teams in order to make this thing work. It's kind of a big train, and you need each of the cars working in concert with one another to bring this thing down the tracks. Otherwise, you're stuck at the station and you're not able to go anywhere.
It's so important, and I do agree with you, by the way, and we've mentioned this on other broadcasts, the importance of that relationship. These athletic directors working together, not as competitors, but really working together just to make sure that games exist and that games can exist, in a safe and enjoyable fashion for these players. Even though the game, score says 5-0 and you play to win a game at this level, I think the victory is having the games in the first place under the circumstances. Race the ball down the right sideline, and Leominster will steer it out of play there. That was Femino McNamara.
To your guys' point, it's really about just having the ability to play the games.
Yep.
And to get out there and compete, create some friendships, amongst teammates, some camaraderie, you know, it's not just about the classroom when it comes to going to school.
No, no question about that.
Athletics, big part of it.
And Bill Thomas, I know you'll appreciate this. And of course, I mean, you might argue that your life not entirely all that different. I'm sorry, but the Groundhog Day approach has been, I think, what everybody's feeling, whether it's, you know, your retirement experience before COVID versus your retirement experience now versus those of us that are going to school every day. A great scoring opportunity there across the mouth, and the angle was cut down there by Dupuy and the defense, and it caused things to get a little too close. Ball sails over the back of the net, and it will be a Leominster free kick. To the point, Bill Thomas, when you look at those circumstances, and you are, you know, living the same thing over and over and over again. I think every time somebody's asked me, how's it going since, you know, the shutdown of this whole situation has gone since March, and my answer's kind of been, well, it's Groundhog Day. How are we doing today? Same thing as yesterday. It's pretty much been the case.
Should I poke my head out to see if anything's changed?
Absolutely. And so how important is this to change a situation for a student who at least for a couple of hours, even if they got to wear a mask and remember how to do things a little bit differently and maybe not do naturally what might come to them as an athlete, is just the existence of being able to not think about the fact that there is a worldwide deadly pandemic that has killed 200,000 people in this country. Not to get a little heavy, but that's a fact.
No,
in this circumstance. That's how important these games are.
I couldn't agree more. You know, just the ability to interact and to get out and in a safe manner and still enjoy your youth, I think is the best way to put it.
And it's a work in progress. There are so many people behind the scenes who are making that effort in order to make these things happen, whether it is education on the everyday, whether it is education-based athletics every day. That cannot be lost in this conversation as we go through this process, is the sheer volume work being done by educators, educating administrators, and athletics administrators in order to make the simplest of things happen every day. I mean, I know I was sitting on a meeting just before I came out here, just the discussion of when you return to a full-on hybrid program with half students in the building, half working from home. How do you conduct classes? How do you conduct lunch? You know, all those things. Like, those are things you never thought about before. When you ran a school, the bell rang for lunch, everybody went to lunch when it was their opportunity. Yeah. There aren't these thoughts about numbers and getting things in line and making so many more things that I think people widely underestimate as we go through this time period. And the only positive message I come out with is, on the other side, we will get to the other side of this and life will return to normal. I know I speak for quite a few when I say hopefully sooner rather than later.
Yeah. I think when you look at the youth too that are involved in high school and the athletics surrounding high school, how formative they are. You know, people that are out of the workforce, they're going to go back to their day-to-day job, whether it's this year or next year. But kids that are being pushed through school but are not getting the full school experience, they can't go back and have a redo. So, you know, I think whatever administrators and the community can provide to help, I hate to use this word, but create some sense of normalcy. I think that, we need to put our best foot forward, and I think we're seeing it out here on the field, the kids participating.
And normalcy, Bill Thomas, isn't okay with that four-letter word, a new normal. Yeah. Nobody wants to hear that one. As we wind down to the halfway mark of the fourth and final frame here at historic Doyle Field, Shrewsbury with the 5-0 lead, searching for their first win of the season, and right now seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Yeah, made some contact there to create some space.
Moly.
And the loose ball comes to Dupuy, who will have the kick.
Call that requiring some separation. You stand over there. Thank you very much.
When you have the advantage, turn your advantage.
Yeah. She clearly no pushover.
Ball chipped over to the near side there. It's Young. Young centers. Now looks to move on. Deflected downfield. Here comes the foot race. It's Troest, and then playing way out of her box. It was Conti to drive the ball back down to the Leominster end. She was well, many meters, if you will, out of her box in order to play that one. Ball turned on. Dupuy dives. It was out of her reach, but wide of the net to the left.
Once again, another good rush, some good threading through the middle there, through some Leominster defense by the Colonials' offensive forwards. Getting a good offensive shot there.
Okay, we mentioned it earlier, but it bears repeating once again. When you see the effort, when you see a team in a 5-0 deficit, still coming, still returning, still answering the bell, still answering that 8 count from the referee as they're being knocked down to the mat and getting back up, those are the bare bones you can work with and build a program around, that passion, that want to succeed.
And as you said, that's kind of one of those that you can't teach that. And so your squad either has that in them or they don't. And so by seeing that ability on behalf of the Lady Blue Devils, it certainly puts a bright spot in here. And I said, it's something that any coaching staff can work with. That means that you have that grit, you have that determination, you want to go out there. Oh, Gagino, told you.
Yeah, took that one
there
right off the forehead.
Yep.
I mean, but again, not her fault.
Instinct.
She instinct played in, but I'm not entirely certain again that she stepped in to hit the ball or if the ball hit her in the head.
Yeah. But yes, to your point, the intangible item there, that item that you can't teach, you can see that here with these Lady Blue Devils. So it's something to work with, something to build off of. And let's make no mistake, being a team in the Midwachusett, if you go in having potentially 4 freshmen starting at that level, it's not as if you're going into a league that is the AFC East of the last 10 years. This isn't a situation where you can kind of walk through your opponent. These teams are formidable. And so if you have any weaknesses, if you have any instances where your feeder program from the youth level is potentially not contributing the type of foundational athletes you need to continue to build your program, that can become glaringly obvious when you're going up in Midwachusett here against some very formidable teams.
And doesn't that strike you, though, as strange? I mean, we've all been around, again, under normal circumstances. Let's not use this year as the measuring stick. But under normal circumstances, in a normal year, you would come at least to the idea, with the amount of soccer being played in the Twin City region, with a complex in Lancaster and a complex now brand new in Pittsburgh, you would think
2 complexes
there would
in
be
Lancaster.
a number of facilities. That's correct, two complexes over there. You would think soccer would be a sport of real success. As another shot passes Dupuy into the net, she made an initial move, her legs buckled on her, and the ball rolled by, and you can see the frustration as she lost that one by her.
I think she got caught in a short hop there. Once again, she reached her arms out, I think, off to the side a little bit. Ball dipped under her arms, unfortunately, into the net. Goal number 6.
Yes, we pass under 6 minutes here in the 4th, and it is a 6-0 Colonial lead.
But again, I feel like the score differential not necessarily indicative of how competitive this game was through 3 quarters. I mean, I understand 3 goals in soccer is not a slim margin by any stretch of the imagination, but after 1 quarter, it's a 1-0 game. And, time winding down in the first half, it's only a 2-0 game. So I really do feel like when you take a look as the outsider at these differentials with Leominster, you probably make assumptions and go, oh, well, they're not all that good. But what you're seeing on the field is that they have that foundational instinct. They're being actively coached, and it's just having to get up to that next level, not making, quite as many mistakes, being able to maintain possession in the offensive end and be able to take advantage of scoring opportunities. Those things eventually, hopefully, will come together for the Lady Blue Devils. They're not that far off, especially when you see the scoring differentials. It looks a lot worse than what is that you're seeing out here.
Forsberg with the drive on net, unsuccessful, was one of Leominster's better scoring opportunities of the second half as she was able to get some flight over the top of the wall, and it was pulled out of the air by Conti, and now back and forth action has persisted once again as we wind down to the 4:20 mark of the 4th quarter and a 6-0 lead. And they credit Russo with the goal unassisted for the Colonials for that 6th goal that may end up being our final as we wind down toward the 4-minute mark. Remember, here on Rivalry Family Media, one of 2 ways to participate. It's available on the same day delay, 9 p.m. How you're seeing it right now. Facebook.com/Media Rivalry for that. That's where all broadcasts premiere on a same day delay basis. In the meantime, for those of you joining us on demand, that on-demand coverage is available on YouTube, youtube.com. Obviously, search and subscribe, Rivalry Family Media. Happy to have you with us however you are able to participate and wherever you are the world over, right across central Massachusetts and all across the world via our web streaming broadcasts. Todd Robbins, Bill Thomas, Kate Robbins, happy to have you along with us as we wind down to the 3:10 mark of the fourth quarter. Leominster looking maybe to get a mark here before the end of the game, give them something to build on for future. Colonials have not eased the pressure. Leominster, though, will slip the ball out of a pack, and here they come. This is Rodriguez looking out in front and a little bit out of the reach of Mia Forsberg as it will roll across the touchline, ball back to the Colonials. 2:40 and counting here in the fourth. We're right back here at Doyle Field tomorrow night with some more signature play-by-play action. Blocker here at Doyle Field once again, second time this week. Leominster and Algonquin. Leominster boys looking to avenge a 2-0 loss earlier in the season, all of about 2 weeks ago, the way this season has been going. So it'll be Leominster and Algonquin in a battle here. Same day delay coverage coming up tomorrow night, 9 p.m. Facebook Live, facebook.com/Media Rivalry.
Correct me if I'm wrong, Algonquin boys lost to Shrewsbury earlier this week. And that was in tough fashion, so they're going to be looking for a win. They're not going to want to be going out the week over. Not what they're going to be looking to do. I think tomorrow's going to be a bit of a bloodbath. It
will be a battle indeed between these two schools. We'll see how tightly the whistles condense the action here. We saw some great movement, some great space, obviously.
Tonight was nice. You didn't even notice any of the officials. I mean, there were some conversations, things gummed up a little bit around second quarter, third quarter, just with, you know, some conversations back and forth and that narrative conversation that's consistently having to go on because of the variations in COVID rules. But overall, it's been nice with these girls. I mean, there have been some instances where, you know, some of the play-ons, questionable. They might have needed a whistle here and there. But it's been nice not having the officials be the story of the game.
And it was so tightly officiated in the Wachusett Leominster game last night. Certainly the reason we bring up the point, we will see what transpires tomorrow night. Something requires management. Yeah,
something to be said for proactive officiating.
Certainly.
Let's not discount that because we don't want things to come off the rails. But when it gums up quite that much, last night was difficult to watch at times.
Indeed it was. As this ball bounces toward the touchline, Leominster tries deep and inbounds, can't do it. It was Feminine McNamara giving chase. Under 2 minutes here in the fourth, winding our way down toward the final minute. Colonials will have the restart. And we've arrived at that final minute quickly. 10 seconds to play, says the time from the field. Ball continues down that right touch line. It looks like there'll be time for one more restart, or no, there won't be. There's the whistle. Game over here at historic Doyle Field. Final score, Shrewsbury 6 and Leominster nothing here on Rivalry Family Media. Shrewsbury gets their first victory of the season, improve their record to 1-2-1 overall. The Blue Devils still in search of that first victory. That search will continue later on this week as they fall to 0-4. Tough night all around, to say the least, for the Blue Devils, for the Colonials. This was what the doctor ordered, Bill Thomas. You needed something to break out of the pack, get your first victory of the year. The first victory they have.
Yeah, we speculated during our pregame show that one team might find a way to turn this into a blowout. Unfortunately, it wasn't the team we were hoping for, but. The Shrewsbury Colonials just kept the pedal to the metal. We wondered if they would kind of play some four corners, some stall in the second half, especially that fourth quarter. But they kept coming offensively, and I think they smelled the proverbial blood in the water, and they wanted to get all they could get tonight against the Lady Blue Devils, and they played themselves a great game and continued pressing that offense right up to that final whistle.
No question about that. For more from Rivalry Family Media, it's facebook.com/Media Rivalry, or subscribe and search on YouTube. Rivalry Family Media is what you're looking for. 6-0 our final score here from historic Doyle Field. And again, remember, back tomorrow night, same day delayed coverage. Leominster, Algonquin, boys soccer with signature play-by-play coming your way here on RFM. For Bill Thomas and Kate Robbins, I am Todd Robbins for the final time here for Doyle Field. Shrewsbury 6 and Leominster 0. And again, our final reminder here on Breast Cancer Awareness Night. Early detection is the key. Get your mammograms today. This message brought to you by the American Cancer Society. We thank you so very much for being a part of our family. And until next time, so long, everybody.